Daemon tries to get the young Lord Tully to pledge allegiance, but Oscar declares that his family will uphold the pledge they made to Viserys and his legitimate successor, Rhaenyra, once they are in front of the other Riverlords. That promise won't be abandoned by him, even if Daemon is a particularly loathsome representative. However, a punishment for House Blackwood's terrifying war tactics against House Bracken must be exacted before the Lord Paramount turns over the vast army of the Riverlands. Daemon is tasked with condemning those crimes and personally administering justice. Daemon claims Sir Willem Blackwood's head, and the Riverlords provide evidence. It remains to be seen, though, if he will stick to his new ally's good graces or find a way to screw things up. Rhaenyra knows that the best way to find potential Dragonriders is to go directly to the source. That's why she sends boats to King's Landing, where they are escorted by armed sailors and operate in the dark, in order to gather up any Targaryen blood that may exist. At last, around 50 men and women are on the beach at the prearranged hour to be brought to Dragonstone. Myseria's devoted lady-in-waiting, Elinda, who is still hidden in the city, has already been hard at work spreading the news at her order. Among them are Ulf the White, who we already know is the bastard half-brother of Viserys and Daemon based on his own claims in various taverns around the city, and blacksmith Hugh the Hammer, who sees this potential dragon claiming as something of a last-ditch effort after the death of his ailing daughter. We already know a good deal about who will be consumed, burned to a crisp, or both based on how much of the season has already been devoted to developing these two characters. Nevertheless, it does appear crucial that Rhaenyra speak to the group as a whole before they enter the Dragonmont's caverns, where the unclaimed dragons sleep, promising that this will be the moment that their lives are irrevocably changed, either by the noble sacrifice of death, or by the bond between dragon and rider. The Valyrian dragon keepers, on the other hand, are not pleased with her choice to bring bastards to Dragonstone, and instead of participating in the ritual, they all leave in protest. Vermithor, the first dragon up for grabs who we saw in Season 1 when Daemon sang to him, goes by the moniker Bronze Fury, which is fitting given what happens. A lot of men and women walk forward to maybe gain the opportunity to become Dragonriders, and many of them lose their lives in the process. This event is ultimately remembered in history as the Red Sowing or the Sowing of the Seeds, for those who are familiar with the rhythms of fire and blood. Hugh eventually finds himself face to face with Vermithor, shouting at the dragon to just finish him off already, amid pyrotechnic devastation, fear, and bloodshed. Ulf is knocked off the platform into the caverns. Nevertheless, it seems that the large, bronze dragon only needed someone to match his craziness, and Hugh's energy is precisely the kind of audacious bravery that causes him to connect with Vermithor in the face of death. Ulf, meanwhile, encounters a sleeping Silverwing while meandering through the caves beneath Dragonstone in search of a route out. When he unintentionally walks on a clutch of eggs, the dragon wakes up. However, rather than murdering him there, she playfully knocks him down several times with her nose. The next time we see Ulf, he's riding Silverwing over King's Landing and clinging to the saddle for dear life. The little council and Aemond are eventually alerted to the street cries, and when they see a dragon circling overhead, the Prince Regent rides out to the neighboring field where Hagar is soundly resting and takes to the sky himself. It turns out that what at first looks like a simple target for an inexperienced Dragonrider is actually a trap set for Aemond and a show of power. As the prince approaches Dragonstone, he finds that Rhaenyra's seat is practically crawling with dragons now, including Silverwing, Syrax, and Vermithor.